well, on a mission again. Sorta, kinda. So, I had to go up to Doylestown, take care of some business. So I thought, why not do a video? So, just got off the train at Doylestown. Kind of crazy getting here from the lower part of the county where I'm more used to, because you have to take a train to Philadelphia and then switch trains. So you got to go to downtown Philly. I went to 30th. And then you switch at 30th to the line that goes to Doylestown. But there's a reason why I did that. You guys saw my live video about 2 weeks ago. My dad passed away. And right now, my brother and I were sorting things out. And one of the things we gotta sort out is transferring the title of... I was just seeing if I was going the right way. Transferring the title of the Jeep to either myself or my brother. And right now we're waiting on Bucks County to give us the death certificate so we can handle all that shit. So I thought, you know what, fuck it, I'll take the train. What's this? Doylestown Agricultural Works. And, you know, I thought, why not come up here? Oh, that's cool. Some guy has a skeleton over there, and also an inflatable swoop. Which, for those of you that know me, I like the Philadelphia Eagles. They've always been one of my favorite teams. Also, on top of that, I like all things kind of weird and morbid. Now, reason why I'm up here is because I had a bank account with my dad. And, you know, we called the funeral home right away. Or I should say my brother did, because my brother's been helping me out with a lot of this shit. Because of the fact that I nearly had a breakdown over this. So, let me get this. So anyway, I gave my brother the number at the funeral home, and so he called, and you know, he called. My dad died on Friday night. Brother called the next day. So my brother calls and everything, gets it all taken care of. And here, when somebody dies, hold on, I look weird doing this. All right, there we go. When a person dies, a lot of people don't know this. If you are on a bank account with them and it's like if you're like a parent who's on a bank account with your kid, vice versa, sibling, whatever the case, you have to pay an inheritance tax in Pennsylvania. So I was on this bank account with my dad, and funeral home reported everything, the fact that he died. The guy at the funeral home reported it to the bank. No, not the bank. Pennsylvania Department of Revenue, the Social Security, whole nine. So I get a thing in the mail from Pennsylvania Department of Revenue saying, hey, you owe us about $25. And it was like 3-4% of what was in the account. What they do is they divide the amount, and they like kind of figure out 4% of that. That's how they get it. So yeah, I got to come up here and give them a check. So let's see what happens. What nobody tells you is these hills are pretty damn steep. Not used to this. I mean, my Bristol videos, I walked along steep hills, but nothing like this. Burlington, Mount Holly was mostly flat land. Same with Princeton. But this, woo, it's like hiking. Now I know I gotta go all the way up there because I can see the top of the new Bucks County Courthouse. And as soon as we get up that way, I'll show you what I mean. Department of Note. Note to self. That's a department of note. But yeah, it's been a crazy couple of weeks. Been trying to get things sorted out. It's funny, Monday after my dad died was crazy, but Tuesday after I went to Philly, and I should have brought my camera, but I didn't think about it. Went to Philly because the city was nice, of course, but had to take care of a couple of things for myself. And then, I went to the cathedral. And funny story, I talked about this bank account. Well, I was out with myself, obviously, but here I went into Chinatown, and I was in Chinatown. Is this guy gonna let me buy? Thank you. Went to Chinatown, and this lady sees me looking in the window, and she's like, oh, come on in, because it was a restaurant. So I go in, have dinner, and she goes to give me the check, and I pulled out a debit card from my wallet. And my dad and I both used the same bank because it was just easier that way. And here, pulled out the debit card, didn't realize it. It was the card for the bank account I was on with my dad. My dad and I used to have this thing where once a month or so we would drive over to South Jersey, hit up Costco, or go to this BJ's we both liked, and then we would go grab a bite to eat. Whether it be, you know, going to like a diner, because, you know, New Jersey has a bunch of them, or like somewhere like a Cracker Barrel. And I realized it when I put the card down to pay it, and lady comes back with the slip, go to sign it, and I'm like, well, Dad, you bought me dinner for one last time. This is a nice little area, don't you think? Some guy looked at me like, what the hell? But doing a video, kids. I actually came up here once with my dad because my sister, Jesus, you would think I was in Philly. Well, my dad and I came up here once because my sister had to take care of something at the courthouse. So we walked over that way. There's actually a pretty good pizza place somewhere around there. Forgot where though. That firehouse over there looks almost like the one in Mount Holly. Now, wait, did that? Wait. Oh my God. You guys remember the Camden video? There you go. Oh, Tesla. You know, those things can go pretty fast. How do I know? I know a guy with a Tesla. So, I think that's where I have to go right there. That's the old Bucks County Courthouse. That is, oh, some war monument, I think. I don't know which one. 1867. 1867. Looks like could be, oh, Civil War. Should have known. There's the thing for that flagpole, which was erected for the bicentennial. Vietnam War Memorial. You know, every area practically has a Vietnam War Memorial. Now, before I go in, I'm going to take a look at this. Now, the newer courthouse, which is right over there, there's actually a thing there for 9/11. There's a piece of the beam from the World Trade Center. It's right around their parking lot. Well, these must be the people from Bucks County who died in Vietnam. One of my uncles was in Vietnam. He died like years later. And then right here is a little map of Bucks County. That's the area I'm more used to, right around the arch and the heel of the boot. And, you know, so we got that. Let's see, what's this? That's for World War II. This is people who died in the line of duty, like cops and firefighters that died in the line of duty. Now this one right here, David Wentz, I don't know how you pronounce that, but he was a fire police captain in Bristol, and in 2012 he responded to an explosion at the Dow chemical plant in Bristol, and he had a heart attack in the line of duty. That's how he died. I know because I know a few firefighters that were living, and they actually served in like Bristol, Croydon. Now this is like a thing for veterans. Never noticed this, but yeah, look at this. Oh, this guy, I heard about this guy. Was I think there was a thing near St. Mark's School about him. But yeah. Oh, these are all veterans from Bucks County who were killed in action. All right, I'm gonna go and take care of my business. I actually came out the other way because I was on the Court Street side. This is the Main Street side. But the reason why I did this was because I want to show you guys something. Now this is the new Bucks County Courthouse. The one I went into was the old one. They put this one up, about, I'm gonna say in the last 10, 15, 20 years. I don't know when. But I was always used to that one behind me. They still do a lot of stuff there. Like, if you watch like the news and they're arraigning somebody, a lot of times they do it in the courtrooms over there. But over here, they do some court hearings and whatnot. They also do other things, like this is where the Bucks County Sheriff is, so it's actually where you would go to get your gun permit. Because, well, you could get your gun permit in Bucks County either here or one of the satellite offices. There's one in the lower part of the state, one in the upper part of the state, but you get it here and you can get it printed out same day. The other ones, you just gotta wait a couple of days. But I had to go in there, pay the inheritance tax, and lady said to me that they will send me a thing in the mail with the receipt, with like the official seal of Bucks County. It's like a raised seal, you know, like when you go for your birth certificate. And I know this because I had to do this recently in Jersey. You know, when you go to like a vital records office for the state or the county, and you get like a death certificate or a birth certificate, and they have that raised seal, that's what that lady was alluding to. Now this I want to show you guys. because I said about there was a beam. Now, I did do a video about a couple of years ago from Garden of Reflection, which is in the Yardley Lower Makefield area. But this is for those who were affected by September 11th. And this beam, it's 20 feet of beam, and it's actually from the World Trade Center. Now, Garden of Reflection does have a beam. I think they have a couple of beams from there. But I want to show you guys that, because that is like really surreal. And it says here, 20-foot steel I-beam salvaged from the World Trade Center. It doesn't say where, but it does say that it is from the World Trade Center. And then, so I wanted to show you guys that before I go any further. But yeah, this is actually where a lot of the stuff in the county is. So of course, Bucks County got its name from Buckinghamshire, which, as we know, is a town in England. A lot of towns in Bucks County did get their names from like places in England. I know Bristol got its name from Bristol, England. It's either people tied to England. A lot of the older towns, it's people tied to England, or it's towns in England. The only exception I can fully think of is Levittown, which got its name from the guy who developed Levittown. And it looks a lot different than it did when they first built it. But yeah, we're coming back up towards the old courthouse, and they got the dart shuttle, which is kind of a thing that goes around Doylestown. It's like a $1, you get on, and I guess it goes around different places in Doylestown. I know Bristol had something like that. I don't know if they still do. Never used it, because where I would see it by the train station was a short walk from my house, so I go that way. And yeah, so of course that's a nice little building there, that bank. But I wanted to take care of that now, because that way it's done, it's over. One less thing I have to worry about. And
I understand what.
Of course, that right there, I think that's either the seal for Bucks County. Let me zoom in if I can. There we go. I think it's either the seal for Bucks County. Yeah, that's Bucks County, because Pennsylvania's has 2 horses. I should know this, because Pennsylvania has 2 horses. Funny thing is, New Jersey has a horse on their state seal, and it's actually the horse's head. And y'all wonder why there's so many mobster stereotypes. Even the state seal of New Jersey is a mobster stereotype. I'm kidding. I love Jersey. Y'all know I'm the Jersey girl in PA. So, yeah. But at least I found where I was. Now, when I was over there at the Vietnam one, right over there, I was saying how I had an uncle who was in Vietnam. He was a tunnel rat in the army. And, you know, he didn't die in combat or anything. He came home. He got injured, I think, like 3 or 4 times, because he had a few Purple Hearts. And there's a story about how my Uncle Bob, who was the uncle that was in Vietnam, would tell my grandma that he was afraid to go back after the last time they had him come back stateside when he was injured. Yeah, it didn't say wait this time. Bummer. But anyway, so he was always afraid of that. The irony of it all is he died in 2015, and he died of Agent Orange exposure from when he was in Vietnam. And then, of course, I think that pizza joint that I went to before was down near that street where the Starbucks is. I'm not gonna go because I grabbed something to eat when I was at 30th Street Station. Because like I said, you have to take like 2 trains from the lower part of the county to get here. Of course, what I did was I took a bus to Frankfurt and Knights, and then another one to Frankfurt Avenue, and just took the L in because I missed the train going from Bristol to back to, down to Philly. So I was like, hell with it, I'll go and take the train from 30th Street. So took me about a couple hours, because they said on Google Maps, mass transit from the lower part of the county at Doylestown was like 2 hours and change. It felt more like longer, because the way I had to take to get to 30th, I left my house in the lower part of the county around 8:30. Didn't get to Center City till maybe close to 11. That was 30th Street Station. Didn't get here till about close to 1 o'clock. And reason why was because we got caught right there at what do you call that? We pulled out right at Lansdale, I think. Was he? No, not Lansdale. it was like, they call it link belt, I think. I forgot. It was before Chalfont. It's all I remember. And it's, the train stopped. Well, I'm a little nervous about that. And here I knew a little bit because my buddy over at Trans Video Productions, he's a locomotive engineer for CSX. And so I learned a little bit about train signals and shit like that from him. So I was still a little nervous because I've been on edge since my dad died 2 weeks ago. And yeah, so we go and we're right there, and the conductor, he runs to this one little area to tell. Well, actually, it wasn't the conductor, it was the driver. He tells the conductor, and he was explaining to me what happened. And I was like, oh. And I told him, I said, I knew a little bit about it because of my friend who works for CSX. But also, I knew a little bit because of the fact that something was up. But overall, I didn't know completely because of one reason. I'm so damn used to the Trenton line. Oh my gosh. Now this, I know, was a movie theater. I think Philly Captain did a video once in Doylestown. I'll have to look at his shit. And he went around here.
Fucking shit.
If I had legs, I'd kick you. Okay, what did we learn today, kids? This is the county theater. It's only open on Fridays. Shyamalan did a new movie. A Josh Safdie film. Safdie. Oh, that's the guy along with his brother Benny who did Good Time. That was a great movie. I mean, you guys want to see a good movie? There you go. Is this thing on? I don't know. Is it? But yeah. Now, of course, I have a bit of a funny story now that I'm thinking about it. My brother and I forgot to talk to the funeral home about an urn. So I'm coming home with my brother. We're driving back to my house, and I say to my brother, we forgot to talk to Mark. Mark's our funeral guy. We forgot to talk to Mark about an urn. And he was like, go on Amazon. Well, I was able to get something off of Amazon. Nice urn, pretty reasonable price and all. But I have to laugh at it because when my sister passed in 2020, true story, my mom had me order an urn off of Amazon. And I kept thinking, this urn that she picked out was weird. I mean, it was a nice design. It had a wolf on it and everything. And my sister had a Malamute at one time, which kind of looks like a wolf. And yeah, so we get it. Ooh, poor doggo. Not gonna be able to drink any water. But we get it, and My dad and I are looking at this urn, and we're like, this isn't right. So we use the same guy, and so we took it over to the funeral home, show it to Mark, and Mark's looking at it, and he says to my dad, Jack, I can fit maybe her foot in there, and that's it. You know what it was? It was an urn for a dog. Hand to God. These people are probably thinking I'm crazy talking to myself, but I got a GoPro in my hand, people. Let's see. So, I know train station's further down this way. Because I went a different way, because I thought, oh, walk around a little. Probably got about an hour to kill before the train back to Philly, and then heading back to the lower part of the county, and then you know, go home, edit this shit. Story of my life. But yeah, it's a crazy story. God, I miss having the Jeep around, but she will be back on the road. Right now she is sitting in storage at a friend's house in Croydon, and the reason why is because my brother and I do not have off-street parking. And this friend of ours does. So we knew we could stow it in his driveway. Hi. That's a nice little church over there. St. Paul's Episcopal. It's funny. My dad used to always make a joke about the word Episcopal because he could never really pronounce it. So he would always say Piscopal. I am dead serious. And to the Episcopalians that are watching this, I sincerely apologize. My dad was crazy. I know it. And he was Roman Catholic, by the way. So forgive him. But yeah, he used to always say, those Piscopals. Oh God. He always made jokes about them. And then he would have like different things he would say about the Catholics. So he was crazy like that. But you know what? His whole thing will also live on because of one reason. Because of the videos. You probably remember my dad in a lot of my New Jersey videos, and there was one in particular that always stood out to me. And it was the very first New Jersey Adventures video I did, which was we took a road trip to Atlantic City and Margate. So we're on Route 30 headed down because my dad, he never liked taking the AC Expressway or anything like that. So what we would do is we would take 295 down to about 73, which leaves you off around Marlton. And you know, then he would just take 73 to Route 30, take Route 30 straight into Atlantic City. So we are going down Route 30 and we see this little area, and it's like a prayer chapel. I think there was a Catholic church attached to it at one point. I have the video on on the channel. And you know, in the video, we were sitting there in the truck because at the time he was driving a Chevy pickup that he borrowed from a friend of his, and it's actually the same friend who has the Jeep in storage right now. So he and I were sitting there, and he says, "This is a rest area for a church." Actually, that same day we shot that video, we went to Atlantic City, and we went to Ripley's. Ripley's has since closed. If you saw my last Atlantic City video with my dad, well, here Ripley's had this thing, and it was like all these different types of morning stuff and whatnot. And there was this morning dress that women in New Guinea would wear. And he looks at it and he says, "No one would go out with you." That's also the one where he made fun of the coffin that looked like a Pan Am plane. So yeah, I have all sorts of crazy things from him in my videos. I think my favorite one was when we were driving around this park in Willingboro for the Futuro house. Which, that was like kind of a last minute thing, because I was trying to find it before, and then I ended up couldn't find it, so I went to West Windsor, went to the War of the Worlds crash site, and you know, we went from there with that video. But the Future House video, I remember we're driving around this park trying to find where to go, and he starts with his crazy little things where he keeps saying all this zany, weird shit. And the way he said it, it's just still stuck in my head. And I love that I have those videos from when I went with him to those places. I mean, had he lived this year, he would have turned 80. And we had plans to do some crazier shit for his 80th birthday. Like, we were gonna go back to Atlantic City. We were gonna probably go to Edison to the world's largest light bulb, which is right in Thomas Edison State Park. And also, I know we had one planned that we wanted to do so badly, and unfortunately it never happened. That was go to Salem, Massachusetts. Now this over here is Michener Museum. I've been in there. I was in there about 20 some years ago, close to 30, because I went there for a thing at, you know, when I was a student at Bucks County Community College at the time. And then that's the Mercer Museum. Now, I actually wanted to come over here because right around here used to be the old Bucks County prison. And then they converted it all to this shit. Well, mostly that shit over there. That was always there. But yeah, my dad actually told me that once, because I came here with my dad. I remember I had to come here for a school for a thing when I was at Bucks, where we had to walk through the museum and write our thoughts about shit we saw at the museum. It was one of those classes on art. And here when we went over there, my dad said, you know, that used to be a prison. I was like, what? He said, yeah, that used to be the old Bucks County prison. So, yeah, little known fact there, kids. The old Bucks County prison. The new one is actually more on the outskirts of Doylestown on 611. If you guys know anything about the Central Bucks area. I want to make sure I don't get run over. But look at this. Swiss cheese. I'm not going to go in because I don't feel like walking through a museum, but that looks like Swiss cheese. And then you got a couple other statues. I don't know if this is part of the museum or what. Right here, this modern looking thing, because when I last went here, it was like, I think 99. It was much smaller, but it's gorgeous in there. I remember there used to be this one little, oh, that's a library, by the way, but there used to be like this one little area and everything. So yeah. Oh, I want to show you guys this. I just saw this. But remember how I told you guys, my dad told me that this was a old prison? Look at this. This shows you where there was a prison cell. And then, like, you can scan your phone for the QR code. They have them all over here. And then this must have been the framework for the prison cell. You guys remember my video where I walked through the Ben Franklin Museum? You guys remember how there was like the structure of where the house stood? So I'm thinking this is where it stood. And then what a lot of people don't know, and the one thing I'm going to do when I get the Jeep going, is go to Mount Holly to the prison museum, because they have a gallows and everything there. It tells you about how there were hangings, there were executions in Bucks County. A lot of people don't know this, but in history, I'm going to go this way. In history, they had it where, like, the county prisons could do their own executions. Well, that's a nice sculpture. Maybe one day, if I can do it, get a couple people to go to Grounds for Sculpture with me. But yeah. But they got some nice stuff here. And then all these different sculptures and whatnot. But if you come here, there's little QR codes you could scan to learn about these things. And it's like a little audio code. I forgot how much it is to get into the Mitchner now. But I'll put a link to the Michener in the description so you guys can get an idea of that. It's a gorgeous museum, by the way. And, you know, it's probably cheaper than the Philly Art Museum. And also it's a lot easier to get into because Philly Art Museum, you know, they got all those steps. And of course they're moving the Rocky statue. I don't know if you guys heard about that one. I know Philly Captain's gonna have something about that. So, yeah, there's another one. I don't know, what does that look like to you guys? But, yeah. Thought I'll just do this. I just think I got a text a couple of minutes ago. Probably my neighbor being like, "Where are you?" Because my neighbor, she's been calling me and texting me since it all happened. Ooh. But of course she was actually there that day. She went to the hospital. She went with me over to the funeral home. You know, all that stuff. Or of course that text could be my brother, even though my brother does know I'm up here, because I called him from 30th Street Station. I said, I forgot to tell you I was going to Doylestown. So yeah. Oh, that's just a regular notification. I have my phone in my hoodie pocket. But yeah, you could see, like, right in here is the tunnel that would lead into the prison courtyard. And then of course this is just for the museum, but you lead right in here, and then the entranceway is to the left for the museum. Now, Michener Museum, it's named after the author James Michener, who was from the Philadelphia area. So, little interesting factoid for those of you that are curious. Ooh, I love how I did that. So yeah, I'm gonna go see about hopping on the next train back down to Philly, and then, you know, hopefully I'll do another video soon. I know I do want to go down around Princeton again, because I found some more interesting things with Princeton Cemetery, also a couple of other things, but right now I'm kind of not feeling up to it. I think the reason why I started doing a lot of this stuff again was because I kept thinking about a video I saw from Philly Captain after Adam the Woo died, and like Philly Captain, I was inspired by Adam the Woo. And you know, I never met Adam the Woo, and if I ever meet Philly Captain, oh god, that's gonna be epic, because I absolutely love Philly Captain. And you know, I probably have a better chance of meeting him because of the fact that he is from Philadelphia and I live a half-hour's drive from Philly. So I probably have a better chance. But he said about how he just had to keep going after the, you know, after everything. And that's how I feel right now, because, you know, I mean, we lost out on the Woo right before Christmas, which was very heartbreaking. I mean, I was in shock when I saw that. I actually got an alert from, I think it was TMZ. It was either TMZ, Just Jarrett, or Channel 6 in Philly. I forgot which one. But, you know, I saw that and I was like, oh my God, because he was pretty young. He was in his 50s. Everybody says my dad was kind of young when he died. My dad was 79 when he died. Like I said, he would have been 80 this year. But, you know, it was like 2 weeks after we'd lost Adam the Woo, my dad dies. And my dad's death was very sudden, like I said in my live video, because he got sick with what they thought was bronchitis, and then he goes to the doctor. Nurse practitioner at the doctor's office gives him antibiotics, and then we think he's getting better, but he's not. So, you know, I ended up with strep throat, like, right around Christmas. I got to where I lost my voice and everything. Went to an urgent care in Fairless Hills. They tested me for COVID, flu, and strep. Came back positive for strep. So, you know, I got antibiotics. I'm a little better now. My sinuses are a little screwed up. But here, my dad wasn't feeling too good. And this is the day after Christmas. And he goes back to the doctor's office. He's a different nurse practitioner who was shocked that the one that he saw the Monday before didn't do a chest x-ray or anything. That's neither here nor there. And he's told to go to the ER. Now, his doctor was on the grounds of the hospital that this was at. And so he gets there. He has a hard time breathing. They give him oxygen. They put him on a BiPAP. Try and get him breathing all right. And then they're about to admit him. And he pulls the mask, and he says he can't breathe. He had a respiratory distress and then coded. They got him back. They had him intubated and everything else. We thought he was going to be fine, because the Sunday after, they took the tube out. He was fine for a while. Coded again, like 2 days later. Last time I talked to him was actually about a day or so before. And, you know, codes 2 days later. They put him back on that and everything. They find a blockage in his heart, take care of that. They put a thing in to try and get his heart pumping right. And, you know, he was really touch and go. And that Friday of that week, which was day after New Year's, my brother and I, we made the painful choice. And you know, family came in, said their goodbyes. I'm just gonna leave it at that because I got my own issues there. But family came in, said their goodbyes. Then my brother and I went in after they left, talked to them for a little bit while the nurses were unhooking everything and whatnot. And then, you know, my brother took me home, and I get a phone call from my brother close to midnight. And here they told, you know, I answered the phone and I said to my brother, he passed, didn't he? Because I sensed it. And it's funny because of the fact that I sensed it with my mom and I sensed it with him, not with my sister. And, you know, so, yeah. I had to keep this going, and hopefully I could do more, but we will see. Thank you, Porsche guy. There's a guy in a Porsche. And, you know, so yeah, hopefully I could do a few more videos. I'll do it here and there. I probably won't be on a set schedule for right now because of all the shit that's going on. But, yeah. Okay. Let me flip it back around. I'm back around where I started the video. School of Rock. Jack Black is probably like, you owe me money for that. I'm kidding. But, yeah. That's the whole story. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. And I'll see you on the next adventure. And in the words of Adam the Woo, the vlog is over.